Hello YouTube, Dave here again. I just wanted to share a character that I created for an online D&D game that I started as the DM and will be going back to as the DM, but it's sort of an episodic campaign where I opened the door for anyone else who wanted to design a scenario to maybe take a little bit of the pressure off myself and get a chance to actually play. I wasn't expecting anyone to take me up on the offer, but one of my players, who just so happens to be, because this is an online game, it's actually Bill from Rollstats, who I've really enjoyed. I've been really enjoying having in my gaming group, and truthfully, part of me is going to be a little upset once the pandemic restrictions or protocols sort of get lifted, and I might actually delay going back to running games in store to keep this current game going for a while, because I've really enjoyed having him as one of the players. But he actually took up the opportunity to run an adventure and give me the opportunity to play as a player. So I just wanted to share the character concept that I came up with because I thought it was kind of fun. So the basic idea is, I was trying to fill a void that was sort of in the party, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. The party doesn't currently have like a dedicated arcane spellcaster like a wizard. There's a couple of warlocks, but they only have like one spell slot each. So I wanted to actually play like an actual wizard character, but we're also sort of lacking frontline fighter types, and Bill's character, he was playing a paladin, and he was the main frontline fighter type. So I tried to come up with this idea that's sort of a compromise without resorting to multi-classing, because I really hate 5th edition multi-classing. I've never liked the D20 multi-classing that we had in 3rd edition, 3.5, and now in 5th. So I didn't want to take that avenue. But looking through some of the races in the Player's Handbook and the Xanathar's Guide to Everything, I got this idea. So the character that I made is a Dwarven War Mage. So taking the War Mage focus from Xanathar's Guide. So they sort of have the ability to, if they get hit, like the second level abilities, that if they get hit, they can use their reaction to increase their armor class by 2 against the triggering attack, and or get a +4 bonus to a saving throw if they fail a saving throw. Again, they use your reaction for that. And the trade-off is that they can't cast a spell in the next round, but I don't think that's going to be, the biggest offsetting thing, especially at lower levels when you've only got a few spells anyway. But the idea is, the whole premise of the character is that he is hiding his true abilities, in terms of both his heritage and his upbringing, and what he can do as a character, essentially. So I gave him the noble background, and I took all the things, like the background traits, that sort of revolve around the idea. Like, so for personality traits, it says, like, despite my noble birth, I do not place myself above others. So that was one of the things that I took. The ideals is that I must prove that I must be able to prove myself without my family's coddling. The bond is the common folk must see me as a hero to the people, and the flaw is by my words and actions I often bring shame to my family. And I just thought that sort of worked really cool. But the idea behind him is that he is a war mage, but because he's a mountain dwarf, he, number one, has automatic proficiency with things such as battle axes, war hammers, and I think there was like crossbow or something like that. I can't remember what all the ones were, but the main one was battle axe. And as a mountain dwarf, he also has automatic proficiency in light and medium armor. So the character is actually sort of masquerading or presenting himself like a fighter. So he's a dwarf wearing, I think it's scale mail armor is what I gave him. Yeah, scale mail armor, which is a medium armor in 5th edition, and he's got this battle axe. Now, he always wields his battle axe two-handed because he's not proficient in shields, but the way that he sort of disguises the fact that he's not proficient in shields is that, well, he grips his battle axe in two hands anyway, so that's just his preferred fighting style. Now, normally I'm not a huge fan of the way that spellcasting and armor is handled in 5th edition, where if you're proficient in the armor, you can just sort of do it. But truthfully, to me it makes sense, because as a dwarven wizard, their focus is going to be on, it's still going to be on like militaristic combat. There's still going to be, an emphasis on, relying on armor, using melee weapons, and just sort of mixing that in with some arcane abilities. So I just thought, I don't know, I just thought it'd be kind of cool to play a dwarven wizard that presents as a dwarven fighter, and will charge into combat, will rely on his armor, will use his weapon, but then when people think, oh well, he's just the dumb fighter, but then he'll bust out the sleep spell or something. So I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a cool concept. Now with the sheet here, the one thing that I will just point out before anyone mentions anything, because the hit points do seem awfully high for a 2nd level wizard character, but this is a campaign that I wanted to test out a bunch of house rules for when I do start up like my next long-term campaign in person. And one of the things I wanted to do was have a slower level progression early on. Like I wanted I wanted to go back to a situation where you did just gain 2nd level because you had your 1st and 2nd fight. I wanted to sort of make gaining levels feel like an accomplishment, and not like, okay, well, we survived the fight against these 4 goblins, and then the next fight against like the goblins and the goblin shaman. So 2nd level, I don't know. I really dislike the way 5th edition rolled back on low-level characters, and I don't think that the solution to just have them gain 3rd level super quick compared to every other edition was the right one. And I know that I think they've kind of regretted that by putting more of an emphasis on milestone advancement than experience point advancement at this point in time. But I still wanted to make 1st level characters feel a little beefier. And truthfully, you existed before you took on your class. So looking at things like Starfinder and Pathfinder 2nd edition, I just really liked the idea of your ancestry, your race, giving you some sort of boost to your hit points, because before you were a 1st level fighter, 1st level wizard, 1st level cleric, whatever, you still existed, and you still technically had the ability to get injured. So I wanted to throw in that. So it's a house rule that I'm testing, which is why this dwarven character has 24 hit points. I broke down the races into sort of 3 different categories. So the ones that are supposed to be known for their toughness, typically ones that would get a bonus to their constitution, or just known for physical hardiness one way or the other, like dwarves, half-orcs, the Goliath race, and I think maybe Dragonborn. They had a racial bonus to their hit points of +8. And then your humans, humans, half-elves, tieflings, sort of your more average toughness races, I think gnomes were in there as well, they would get +6 hit points. And then your races that are known for being a little more maybe fragile, like elves, because they used to have a negative to their constitution, as well as things like goblins. I did put halflings in that category, because they're not really known for physical toughness so much as their love of eating and their natural abilities at stealth, which to me, made sense for them to be in the lower tier. So they were getting 4 hit points. I wanted that lowest tier to get still a decent amount, so I didn't want to go like 6, 4, and 2, because I don't think that 2 would make as much of a difference. But anyway, so that's just why the character has 24 hit points at 2nd level, so you got a one-time increase. But I don't know, I'm still looking forward to this, because I don't know, I just think it's going to be a fun character to play. And I kind of regret emailing the whole group and letting them know what my race class combination was, because I almost wanted, if I had thought more thoroughly about it, because I gave them the class and race combination before I knew exactly what I was going to make. But if I could take it back, then I probably would. And I would present myself as a fighter, and then suddenly just, throw out a sleep spell, or cast magic missile, or shield or something like that. So anyway, I just thought it was sort of a fun kind of idea, and yeah. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to share it. Not that it's the greatest thing in the world, and not that it's the most creative character ever made. I'm sure hundreds of people have made this exact same character before, so it's really nothing new. But it still was fun to talk about. It was still fun to design, and I guess this opens the floor for for you guys in the comments to let me know what some of the more interesting or unconventional character concepts that you've ever come up with. This may not be the most unusual character that I've designed, but it is the one that I've had the most fun working on recently because, well, it's the first player character that I've made in the last couple of years. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what are some of the more unusual or off-the-wall kind of characters that you've designed. And because I'd always love to hear your guys' ideas, because truthfully, you guys will come up with way more interesting things than I ever could. But it's just a fun. It's a fun little discussion, and I think it'd be fun to delve into the comments on this one. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I look forward to reading your responses in the comment section. And until next time, take care.